Good afternoon, Head Injury Jane here. I want to come on quickly and talk about how much I loathe short-term memory loss. It is really bizarre. For example, I've been going through a lot of stuff medically recently, and actually was hospitalized for 5 days. And just I've been going through a lot. So when you deal with additional illnesses or injuries on top of the TBI with the extreme, my short-term memory is so off. For example, and this is just a quick example, I had made food this morning and for someone, and literally 2 hours later had no memory of it, and actually asked the person, did you eat? What have you eaten? And they were like, and I was like, oh gosh. But it's everything. For example, I have a phone call on my phone that was incoming to me from my doctor, and I don't remember if I answered it, and I don't remember what it was about. And it's stuff like that. I find myself doing all kinds of little weird things. And it's really frustrating. It's disarming. I just simply cannot rely on my memory for anything. Everything has to be written down, and I think it's impossible to write everything down. I mean, how can I write every little thing down? So sometimes, as I've stated before, now this I remember from one of my videos, I know I've talked about the short-term memory loss a great deal and how frustrating and scary and vulnerable it makes me feel. It makes me feel so vulnerable because and on top of that, I now have damaged my elbow so much. I've hit it 3 times today alone. I don't know why I keep hitting it in the exact spot, like it's right in the joint area, right there. And some days I'll have very little use of that arm because there's so much pain from the elbow down. It's very, very painful on the days that it hurts me, but the constant re-injuring multiple times in a day because of the spatial loss, my spatial awareness loss. Everything is so compounded. Everything compounds in together. I cannot emphasize enough how the traumatic brain injury has completely rearranged my life. I've never been a clumsy person, and to continually and multiple times throughout a day continue to injure the elbow. Now, I hit other things. I hit my fingers, my hands. I'm constantly hitting my fingers and my hands on stuff because, of course, I'm reaching. You know, we all reach and we do things. And I'm kind of whacking my fingers. The finger that I damaged in September, I remember that because I've written it down, and it's like some things I can remember. It's not like there's this complete loss of memory. It's that I can do something and then forget all about it, and then be reminded and then go, oh yeah, I forgot that. But it is a complete wipe of the memory. Like I would not be able to pull it on my own if it weren't for notes or someone else saying, yeah, you did that. You did that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it makes me feel like a toddler. It makes me feel like a toddler because I don't remember things, and it just makes me feel very vulnerable. But yeah, this finger is still damaged. But the funny thing about this finger, I do pop it now. It's much better than what it was. And when I first injured it, it was swollen. The knuckle was really, really swollen. The finger was really, really sore. Couldn't touch it. All I did was keep it wrapped. And about a couple months after the injury, I started cracking it because I do pop my knuckles. I'm a knuckle popper. I've always popped my fingers since I can ever remember. So I started popping it, and now it is much better than what it was, obviously, originally. But now when I pop it, sometimes it hurts. So I call it white light pain because it hurts so bad that when you close your eyes, you just see white light. Well, it still hurts like that sometimes, but I still pop it. It has gotten much better, but it's not completely better. But these kinds of injuries on my body, like this poor elbow, I feel like my elbow needs a helmet. That's probably not a bad idea. They make elbow pads. Maybe I could find some really, really like streamlined so they're not big and bulky. But I actually would, that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to find I just dawned on me. I know it sounds crazy, but at this point, I have hit my elbow hundreds and hundreds of times in the last 6 months. And like I said, 3 times today. 3 times today. Hit it twice yesterday. Because I remember, because I'm writing that down. It's like, right, I'm like doing this little thing where you do the notches. But it's really insane how much I'm actually, it's like, I don't understand why this elbow just gets it so much, but this elbow gets it a lot. But like I said, I feel like a toddler, you know. There's this kind of, since my vestibular connections have been altered. Oh, and I got, my MRIs. Okay. I have hyperintensity white matter and something about microvascular. Oh, I looked it up. And, you know, I post a lot of stories about how traumatic brain injury sufferers are more prone to dementia, depression, a lot of mental health problems. Because of course, some people, as I've even had people now reach out to me through Facebook and say, thank you for doing these videos. No one believes me, or no one understands. I think some people say they're not believed. I remember when I was telling someone that I've known my whole life almost, at least 24 years I've known this person, and I expressed to him about how the short-term memory is completely blown out, and it was like a joke to him almost. I'm like, no, I don't think you understand, because I think it's because we're not walking around with stitches and we're not bloody that people kind of dismiss how much we're actually injured, how our lives are really changed. I mean, I can't tell you sometimes the frustration that I have with myself, because I feel like I should somehow be able to combat this better, that I should be able to somehow overcome this better. But the fact of the matter is, when you have an injured brain, it's not in your control. It's not in my control. And it really does make me feel, and it must make many people feel vulnerable. I feel tremendously vulnerable with my head injury, the way it's compromised me. And, you know, these little twitches that I have, and I even have long-term memory losses, and I'll never get those back, I imagine, because there's no one to remind me. But there's so much that has changed in my life. But the white matter, hyperintensity white matter, reflected in my MRIs. And just that alone, without the TBI, would call for early stroke, early dementia, and early death. So couple that with a TBI, and I'm in trouble. So now I've got to find some kind of way, either pharmaceutically or holistically, I'm going to try and figure this out. If there's some kind of medication that I can take that would prevent dementia, if we know that it's a potentiality, considering that I already have so much short-term memory loss and long-term memory loss, what does this actually mean for me? I mean, I used to enjoy occasional wine or beer, and now I rarely drink because it's become such a priority. My good health has become such a priority to me that I can't risk making myself further anything with any kind of non-essential intoxicant. I just can't. It's too dangerous. And so now I'm going to set off to try and learn what I can do to prevent early dementia. It's so scary. And what's even more scary is my primary care physician actually stated, but she had sought an opinion, so it was not of her opinion, sought an opinion of a neurologist about the hyperintensity white matter and should it be of concern, and it actually came back as a no from a neurologist. So of course I took it upon myself to research hyperintensity white matter damage with microvascular, and it was like, I was just shocked. Every article that came back said that it should not be dismissed, that it actually is of great concern for early stroke, dementia, and death. So I am going to set out to try and find out what I can do to help myself so that I don't suffer dementia. I mean, I'm too young. It's for everyone. I don't want to make this just about me, but my personal journey, my personal fears. I don't want to lose any more memories. I do not. So, on that note, I'm going to go. But I don't want to lose any more memories, especially my long-term memories, because that's where my sister and nephew who were killed, that is where they reside, in my long-term memories. I don't want to lose them. Okay, Head Injury Jane here, and I'm telling you, I'm going to research this really hard, and I'm going to see what I can find to keep us from losing more memories, to try and prevent early dementia. So I'm going to try everything. I'm going to try everything. Okay. Take great care. Watch your heads. It is January 22nd. It's 1:15 Mountain Standard Time. Have a great day and take great care.